Well, I guess we're serious now. In this video I'd like to talk about episode 6 of the Netflix Witcher, specifically the complaint about the terrible misrepresentation of Eyck of Denesle. I am Russian, I pronounce it Denesle. I've heard many pronunciations of his name: Denesle, 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 Denesle. If Denesle offends you or irritates you, I apologize. That's what I'm going to be calling him for the rest of the video. The story of Geralt is a story of a reluctant knight, but it's a journey of character development throughout that ends with Geralt realizing that he can't pay the price of neutrality. There are several characters who start out their introduction already a lot more noble and knightly than Geralt, and most prominent of them in the books is Eyck. In the books is actually quite an overstatement. Eyck is only present in one story, the one that's being screened here in episode 6, The Limits of the Possible. Eyck is one of those characters who are also really strong to add to everything else. The world of Witcher has precedence for few and far between exceptional human fighters, not enhanced in any way, just peak physical condition and training, who give even the Witchers a run for the money. Like for example Leo Bonard, a much more renowned evil mercenary that's a lot more popular because more of the book 6 is focused on him. Well, Eyck is definitely another one. A competent, strong and noble knight in canon. Eyck was definitely a flawed character, don't get me wrong. He is undoubtedly racist, but it makes sense for the universe of Sapkowski's Slavic dark world, because while racist, he was not necessarily always wrong. He may find a person of a certain race repulsive and vile, but will help them anyway. Geralt's virtue in comparison is racial tolerance, conversational, emotional and otherwise, with him being an outcast and a target of prejudice himself, while balanced by the fact that Geralt charges for his services because he needs to eat, while Eyck does not, and is sustained by donations and charity, which is also questionable because Eyck is armed like a knight to the teeth in knightly armor and equipment, which takes a lot of gold to maintain, so he does have money or an estate somewhere or sponsorship. It's just not mentioned specifically. So no, Eyck is by far not perfect, but he's also not all that repulsive. The Netflix show portrays him as an example of a modern, overcompensating fuckboy douchebag. He's way too young, whereas the original character was a misguided paladin in the most true classical fantasy meaning of the word. A crazed monk, if you will, upholding Arthurian values in a non-Arthurian world. The purpose of this video is to give Eyck of Denesle's character justice, because he happens to be one of my favorite characters in the story, even though he has very little spotlight. Because people who have not read the books and will only watch the show will think that that's the character, and it is not. So, let's dive in. The book describes a strong, competent and pious knight, and instead, we get this?
Knights never wish to kill. It's precisely why I'll make a great lord to minimize that suspicion. A great knight must lead by example, for
kingdom and glory, we know.
my subjects will be the luckiest serfs in all the lands, especially with the beautiful Yennefer as my maid.
I can't wait. I know.
What the fuck? We're staring at some angry teenager that came out of a frat comedy. He's like the bad guy at the frat party who tries to force himself on a girl because he's drunk and we're supposed to hate him. Like, this is not the same character. Can we talk about how bad Eyck's equipment is in this show? I mean, what is he wearing? A brocade coat? It's so bad it makes his non-canonic, video game only son Siegfried look good in comparison. And nobody likes that guy. Even Jaime Lannister in Game of Thrones at every point bothered to wear a chest plate, and people would be like, oh no, Jaime was wearing like a coat of plate or like a lighter leather armor later in the show. Nah, let's not talk about that. Not when Jaime is during the hardship and he's poor and he's captured in the north. No, I'm talking about when Jaime is at the height of his power and money, where he is dressed as a proper knight because he can afford armor again. You can see that anytime he's in battle he's wearing proper armor, which is the state of affairs we have to assume for Eyck. He is a knight, he should be equipped like a knight because he's being paid like a knight and he lives like a knight. This is what I wear for an armored fight. This is what the old Eyck in the Polish TV series was wearing. And this actor is like 70 years old and he looks better than this guy. It feels to me like they pulled a punch, or maybe punched too hard. I can't tell. If they wanted to make fun of Eyck of Denesle, they should have done it through the religious channel. If anything, Eyck is overzealously religious. Let's examine what Eyck says himself. At one point in the book, he's trying to persuade King Nedimir and his herald Guildenstern to just sort of get rid of the rest of the party and let him handle it. Quote, Eyck totally lost it at this point and broke out into a tirade. The holy book states that a serpent will emerge from the abyss, a terrible dragon of 7 heads and 10 horns, and on its back will be a maiden in red and purple. A golden chalice she will hold in her hand, and her face will be marked with a sign of complete and total debauchery. I know her, Jaskier appeared. It's Chilia, Commander Zammelhalder's wife. Calm down, Mr. Poet, says the herald. And you, Sir Knight of Denesle? Please speak more clearly if you can. Eyck started shouting. Look, King! Against evil, you have to stride with a pure heart and good conscience, with a raised head. And who do we see here? Dwarves who are filth, born in the dark, worshipping dark forces. Heathen sorcerers, claiming godly rights, powers and privileges. A witcher who is a cursed, disgusting pervert, an unnatural creation. And you are surprised that punishment befell you. We have reached limits of the possible. Let us not test God's patience. I urge you to purge our party's ranks of the impurity before we go on. Note how he didn't mention me, Jaskier said mournfully. Not a word about poets, and I'm trying my best here. Geralt smirked at Yarpen Sigrid, who was gingerly stroking the blade of his axe. The dwarf grinned. Yennefer demonstratively turned away, pretending that her torn-up skirt is more interesting than Eyck's words. You are going overboard, Sir Eyck, said the wizard, Doregarai. He was also in the party in the book, but he's not in the show. I am sure out of good intentions. I think your opinion on spellcasters, dwarves, and witchers is utter rubbish. But your heart's in the right place. I think we're all used to your speeches by now, but still, talking that way is impolite and unknightly, Sir Eyck. And completely strange after you, and nobody else, ran over and threw the magical elven rope down to save the witcher and the witch who were about to fall to their death into the ravine. From your speech, it seems you should have prayed that they fell. God damn it, Geralt whispered to Jaskier. He was the one who threw the rope? Eyck, not the Regarai? No, it was Eyck. Geralt shook his head. Yennefer cursed under her breath and straightened out. Dear Knight Eyck, she said with a smile, which anyone but Geralt would confuse for a courteous one. How can this be? I am filth, and yet you save my life? You are a lady, Madame Yennefer, the knight pompously bowed. And your beautiful and sincere face allows for hope that one day you will renounce foul sorcery. Thank you, knight, Yennefer responded dryly. Witcher Geralt also thanks you. Thank him, Geralt. I'll sooner have a stroke. Geralt sighed sincerely and disarmingly. What for? I'm a disgusting pervert. My vile and lying mug does not allow for any hope of redemption. Eyck the Knight must have pulled me out of the ravine by accident, only because I was holding on to a beautiful lady. If I was stuck hanging there alone, Eyck would have not lifted a finger. Am I mistaken, O knight? You are mistaken, Mr. Geralt, the knight-errant replied calmly. I refuse nobody who needs help, even a witcher. Thank him, Geralt, and apologize, the witch said sharply. Otherwise you only confirm that at least towards you, Eyck was right. You can't coexist with people because you're different. Your part in this expedition was a mistake. You're here for a pointless goal, and you should leave. I think you understand that already, and if you don't, you should. This is a very different Eyck from this.
It's precisely why I'll make a great lord to need a man of that state. A great knight must lead by example.
Kingdom and glory.
My subjects will be the luckiest serfs in all the lands, especially with the beautiful Yennefer as my page.
I can't wait to serve you. I know.
Dear. I'm afraid I must take my leave. Lady Yennefer, may I escort you to your tent?
Will you be joining me?
My lady, I never degrade your honor in such a way.
The brigadier of that ship has sailed, wrecked, and sunk to the bottom of the ocean. Now.
He has meaningful dialogue, he clearly expresses his philosophy. I don't have to like you, I am above you, you are filth beneath me, but I am responsible because I am better and I will still protect your life with my life and die for you because I have to, because I'm a knight and that is what knights do. That is quintessential Eyck, not what we see in the show. Let's see how Geralt characterizes Eyck of Denesle in the book. Who else came? Eyck of Denesle? You don't say, the Witcher whistles. Pious and righteous Eyck, a knight with no fear nor flaw, in person. You know him? Is he really such a dragon specialist? Not only dragons either. Eyck is a match for any monster. He's even killed manticores and griffins. He's dispatched a few dragons, so I've heard. He's strong. But he spoils my business, the swine, because he doesn't even take any money for it. Geralt almost admires Eyck and his skill. He holds a grudge towards him professionally, not as a person, but as a competitor. Note, he doesn't hate him. The Witcher is pretty sure that since Eyck is here, it's a done deal and he's not gonna get paid. So their affair is pretty sure to be a waste of time. And he's only here as a backup in case Eyck fails, and for Yennefer's sake, in case she puts herself in danger. At one point, a shoemaker named Kozojed, which translates as goat eater, basically a peasant without any military training, wants to poison the dragon by stuffing a sheep full of poison and using it as bait, to steal all the glory. Well, really Kozojed is just trying to show the peasants that they don't need to hire expensive mercenaries each time there's a dragon. The Reavers and the other fighters gather around the campfire to figure what to do about this guy. They want to get paid and get the credit, so they plot to get rid of Kozojed and have Jaskier smear his name in a ballot, so they can work together and divide the money. Notice how these morally grayer characters include Geralt into their group. They trust him, because they see the Witcher as one of their own kind, a cynical, money-hungry professional they can talk to and make a deal with. So as they sit around the campfire, this is where Geralt reminds them. There's a person here who can mess with your plans. A man who won't go for any bargains or plots. I'm talking about Eyck of Denesle. Have you talked to him? What's to talk about? Boholt grunted, poking at the fire. You can't talk business to Eyck, Geralt. He's not a businessman. Arriving at your camp, said 3 jackdaws, we met him. He was in full arms and armor, kneeling on the rocks, not taking his eyes off the sky. He's always like that, said Kenneth the Reaver, pondering and praying. He says it's a proper thing to do because the gods entrusted him to protect people from trouble. In our parts, in Crinfrid, says Boholt, we keep such weirdos in the barn on a chain. We give them pieces of coal, so they sketch their weird drawings. So right there, Eyck is described as pious and fanatical. He's not greedy for power, he's a little bit lustful for fame. He wants the ladies to say his name, he wants the bards to sing ballads about him. That's about it. He does not lust after Yennefer, like the show portrays. In fact, he doesn't really like her. Here's a small bit where Eyck is also mentioned. This is when Borg 3 jackdaws, also known as Velatredamirth, the Golden Dragon, discusses mission, purpose, and holy meaning with Geralt. Why are you riding with them, Geralt? I ride with them because I'm a toy without any will, because I'm an aimless bunch of tumbleweed driven by the wind. Where, pray tell me, must I go instead and why? At least right here there are people to chat with. People who won't go awkward and quiet when I approach. People who, even if they don't like me, will tell it to my face. They won't throw stones from behind the fences. I go with them for the same reason I went with you to the tavern. Because I don't care. I don't have a place. I don't have an end goal. To which Bork says, there's always a goal for everyone. You do too, have one, even though you feel like an outcast. Do you have a goal? Geralt asks. Yes, I do. You're lucky. It's not about luck, Geralt. The reality is, you believe in your trade, in your mission. Nobody can know that better than a Witcher. Geralt sighs. All day I kept hearing about missions. Nedemir's mission is to take Meliora. Eyck of Denesle's mission is to protect people from dragons. The Regarai's mission is the opposite. Yennefer's mission is to regain fertility. It's impossible, she just wildly thrashes back and forth. I'll be damned, only the Reavers and the Dwarves don't have any mission. They just want to grab as much gold as they can. Maybe that's why I crave their company, because they're simple. You don't crave their company, Geralt of Rivia. I'm not blind. It's not their names that made you grab your satchel. My guess is... Stop guessing, the Witcher said, good-naturedly. The reason I quote this bit is because it contrasts Eyck to Geralt. Eyck is the kind of character who makes Geralt look like a douchebag, like a callous, purposeless, willpowerless person, which is not what he is. The story of The Witcher is the story of him becoming more knightly, but it is a contrast that makes the initial difference apparent. Eyck is someone who believes in his mission, believes in his trade. He is a noble knight, misguided, but not callous. And Geralt knows this. Check out this conversation between him and the Reggerai as Eyck is riding by. Geralt stopped. Eyck of Denesle was riding by. Geralt raised his hand in a cheerful greeting, but the traveling knight turned away, tightened his thin lips, and gave the horse the spurs. "He doesn't seem to like you very much," said the Reggerai, approaching. "What do you think, Geralt?" "I think so. Competition? You could say you basically work in the same area, except Eyck is an idealist and you're a professional. Doesn't seem that much of a difference to me, especially for those you kill." "Don't compare me to Eyck," the Reggerai. "I'm not sure which one of us you'd be offending doing so, but please, don't compare us." So as you see, Geralt and Eyck are two warriors of equally great skill who should have professional respect for each other, but don't, due to the differences in their ideologies. Instead, they have a mutual dislike. Who is callous in the book is King Nedemir. Direct quote when discussing Meliora: "Fuck their people, the throne of Meliora is mine anyway, because in Cairnhorn I have 300 knights and 1,500 pikers against their 1,000 arrogant infantry, and the people will accept me anyway, even without this. I'll hang, quarter, decapitate, and wreck them by horse until they do. And their duchess is a fat cow, and I don't give a shit about her hand in marriage. I only need her... After she gives me an heir, I'll poison her anyway." King Nedemir is not even mentioned in the episode. He's absent from the series, and instead, his motivations are attributed to Eyck. He is on this quest out of his own ambition to become a king, and the people at the campfire discuss the Nilfgaardian invasion. It's as if Netflix is afraid to use the canon lore with its many rulers and put in too many kings that'll confuse the audience. Almost makes me wonder if the show would be better handled by HBO, who's put out stuff like Game of Thrones and are not afraid to throw complicated, sometimes overly complicated plots at the audience and introduce many sides and kings, which is totally appropriate for The Witcher. This character needs to be viewed and imagined complexly, like Sapkowski imagined him in the book. There's no need to simplify him to just good and bad. Misguided seems to be played way over the top. The original book, Eyck would have never eaten a poisonous head of a monster. A knight never wastes a kill. What is that? What do we get here? Eyck hated monsters. He considered them filth. He would have never eaten one. They went in a completely opposite direction, trying to make Eyck of Denesle as stupid and repulsive as possible. And I don't like that. I don't like it. I don't like it. If anything, the canonical book Eyck could be considered somewhat naive. He is already the victim, because the whole reason he got into this mess is he was played by the king, King Nedemir of Cairngorn, who wanted the dragon slain because he set his sights on a nearby duchy, Meliora, whose ruler he assassinated, leaving an unmarried duchess, who was prophesied to marry the one who slays the dragon. So of course he put out an ad to slay the dragon, and Eyck took the bait, for the good of the people. As soon as King Nedemir saw Eyck go down, he turned the party around and said, "To hell with all of you mercenaries. The throne of Meliora is mine anyway, because I have 300 knights and 1,500 pikers against their 1,000 infantry." So the whole thing was a farce for the king to begin with. Eyck is not the asshole here, and that needs to be respected. And now of course I gotta talk about Kozoyed, the goat eater, the peasant. Kozoyed and his peasant militia are completely absent from this episode, yet it was Kozoyed in the books who was the most important in here. When the strongest characters, Geralt and Yennefer, turn against each other, the dwarves and the reavers surprise them and end up tying them up. With Geralt, Yennefer and Jaskier all tied up, it actually ends up being Kozoyed and his 100-man militia who roll in with supply wagons and manage to overcome the golden dragon villain Tredemirth and catch him in the nets. Sapkowski always emphasizes in his writing the power of the people, the peasantry. Once they rise in anger and righteous wrath, they are the most powerful force. It was the might of the peasants under Kozoyed's leadership that ended the Dragon Hunt arc in just about a decisive victory. If Geralt did not cut Yennefer's ropes with a sneaky backhanded Igni behind his back, allowing her to turn the peasants into frogs, the dragon and his bodyguard girls would surely meet their end. Geralt's intervention begins the Save the Dragon arc when Geralt recognizes Velen as a sort of Witcher of the dragon kind. The reason he was there to begin with was to adopt the baby dragon in the cave, responding to the distress call of the Green Dragon Mother, whom Kozoyed successfully poisoned. And just like Geralt, Velen is vastly powerful physically, but infertile. He is a mutant, wandering the world and helping dragons where they need help. He charges the same price as Witchers do, an adopted child. This uniquely qualifies Borg 3 Jackdaws to give Geralt and Yennefer that sensitive parting advice. He is in their boat, sterile just like they are. All of that is sort of lost on the Netflix episode. It's like, why is this guy prying into their relationship? It doesn't make any sense, because the important details are missed. Just like The Witcher, Velen is doing his best not to kill the humans attacking him, even though, as he says in the book, a human being is the most revolting and disgusting thing a dragon can perceive. Velen does not think so. In this, he's an exception, exactly like Geralt. All the humans hate monsters, but Geralt tries to see the monster's side, tries to get their point. Geralt is happy to fraternize with monsters because he does not find them revolting. In this way, Borg 3 Jackdaws and Geralt are kindred spirits. That's made very clear in the book, and not so very clear in the show. Towards the culmination of the story, when Velen reveals himself a dragon, he blocks the party's passage and demands fair knightly combat. Force of conventional weapons and claws. No magic, no fire. He agrees to not use fire, sorcery, or flight, and will contest the party members in a duel. I mean, pretty slick conditions for a dragon, so the Crinfrid Reavers go, fuck that, let's just gangbang him and be done with it. But Eyck, already on the horse, and at full ready, in armor, stops them, and says anyone who tries to kill the dragon will have to deal with me. So they all back off, and let Eyck duel the dragon one-on-one, with Yarpen Zigrin being chosen to announce him as a herald. Eyck says his prayer, and shouts some words at the dragon. The beast may have claws, fangs, and devilish fury, but I have nobility, faith, and tears of the women it widowed. With that, he goes to tackle the dragon first, not wanting any payment other than a ballot written in his name. The dragon is casually sitting on a hill wagging its tail. Yarpen Zigrin climbs a big rock and acts as Eyck's herald. Everybody tells him to speak eloquently, and he says, "Don't tell me how to do the job. I was an ambassador when you were still calling bread yum yum and flies buzz buzz. Hey you there, fucking dragon. Listen to what the honorable herald tells you." That's me. "First, you're gonna be honorably dealt with by a noble and wandering fucking knight, Eyck of Denesle, and he'll jab a fucking pike into your belly as his coldly custom demands, to bring you death and bring joy to all our fair maidens and King Nedimir. The fight must be fair and with rules, no breathing fire, and only conventionally strike each other with blows until the other is out. By that I mean dead. Which we all wholeheartedly wish upon you. You got that, dragon?" The dragon yawned, flapped its wings, then bent low to the ground and descended from the hill. "I got it, honorable herald," he growled. "Let the noble Eyck of Denesle approach the battlefield. I am ready." "This is some kind of circus," Bohold the Reaver spit on the ground and mournfully tracked Eyck as he was riding out forward. "Gonna piss myself laughing." "Shut up, Bohold," Jaskier said. "You keep watching. Eyck is about to attack. It'll be a ballad of ballads, goddammit. If it were me, I would have stuffed his armor with sulfur, just in case he eats him." Kozoyed piped up from the crowd. "Still wants to poison the dragon?" Eyck, already on the battlefield, saluted the dragon with a raised lance, lowered his visor, and gave spurs to the horse. "He might be stupid, but he knows his attacks. Look at that form!" The dwarf stared in awe. Eyck, leaning forward, firm in the saddle, lowered the lance at full gallop. The dragon, contrary to Geralt's expectations, did not jump away, did not circle around, but instead lunged right at the attacking knight. "Strike him down, Eyck!" Yarpen Zigrin cheered. Eyck, despite the galloping, did not strike blindly willy-nilly. He was surgical, changing the attack angle at the last moment, with skill and agility, throwing the tip of the lance over the horse's head. Racing past the dragon, he struck with all his might, raising in the stirrups. Everybody shouted in unison. Geralt did not join the shout. The dragon evaded, softly, quickly, cat-like, full of grace, like a living golden ribbon, a lightning quick, again feline and soft, battered at the horse's belly with a paw. The horse tripped, bucked, falling. The knight rocked in the saddle, but did not let go of the lance. At the moment, when the horse almost buried its nostrils in the dirt, the dragon knocked Eyck out of the saddle with a swift strike of his paw. Everybody saw the armored plates spin in the air and heard the ringing clash as the knight fell to the ground. The dragon crouched, smashed the horse with his paw, opened and lowered his enormous maw. The horse made a soul-chilling cry, threshed forward, and fell silent. In the resulting silence, Velentredenmirth's deep voice proclaimed, "Courageous Eyck of Denesle may now be carried off from the field. He is unable to continue further combat. Next." "Son of a bitch," Yarpen spat into the silence. Here we can clearly see the difference. Eyck of Denesle is a total badass, complete with a knightly set of armor and a horse. He's competent, he's brave, he's completely selfless. And that's the point of the story, that the dragon is even more. The dragon doesn't care if you're a noble knight. I feel like Netflix is taking the easy and lazy route here. Of course it's easy to hate a douchebag character who eats a starving monster and kills a completely unnecessary creature that's barely any threat to begin with. And yes, of course, it's easy to like the good guy. Handsome Henry Cavill gets to say his wise words as the Witcher. Just leave the beast alone, feed it, and it would have left. Of course that would be easy. That's easy. Geralt good, Eyck of Denesle bad. The whole point is the character is complex. He is good and selfless, but he's also prejudiced and misguided. He's religious in a world where gods don't give a shit, if they even exist. So that's it, that's really it, that's all I wanted to talk about. I wanted to give Eyck of Denesle an actual representation and show people what he was all about. What we see in the show is a very sad and frankly infuriating caricature. It is a completely stand-in character who shares very little with the original. Perhaps the name, and the fact he's a knight, and the fact that he hates the filth. It's just that made him so overly aggressive. The actual Eyck of Denesle would never shove his way through the people he hates. He would just quietly pray in a corner and proclaim scornful speeches and tirades. He wouldn't shove his way through peasants or dwarves and mercenaries. He wouldn't touch them. He'd be nowhere near them. He'd sit in his own corner and do everything he could to not be in the same party. And he does not flirt with Yennefer. He does not like her. He is courteous only insofar as the situation demands, as the social pressure requires. So that's really it. That's the video. Questions and comments are welcome below. See you next time.